You're listening to Best Forevers, a podcast for kindred spirits, a podcast that encourages you to love more on your friends and to further consider the issues that plague friendships. I'm Alysa Lucas, and today I have the exciting opportunity to talk to my friend Adri. Hi, Adri.
Hello.
Yes, I was thinking about this the other day, and just a year ago, I was recording with you and Aaron from Accio Politics.
Yes.
I didn't know you, and
I know.
And now it's like a year later, and we just spent like an hour talking off mic before even hitting record.
I mean, seems legit, right?
So I was
podcasting friendships.
Yes, I would say we are friends, right? Like, so we met through the Lady Pod Squad, which is a group of badass women who podcast and support each other. We have a Facebook page, we have a Twitter page. You should all search the hashtag Lady Pod Squad if you want to check out some podcasts made by these badass women. You can find all sorts of good stuff. But we met there, and I put out like, hey, does anyone podcast with their friends? And do you want to come on Best Forevers? And y'all contacted me, and I was like, a Harry Potter podcast? Hell yeah!
And not just any Harry Potter podcast,
Yes.
but politics in the world of
Yes.
Harry Potter. Because we are not just nerds. We're just like super nerds.
Well, and what I love about it is that it just takes every single topic, because you and Aaron go chapter by chapter, and you just started the fourth book, right? Goblet of Fire. I'm a little bit behind.
Goblet of Fire.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm a little
we just
bit behind.
started it. No, it's fine. We're on episode 2. Well, episode 2 has been released already.
Mm-hmm.
Usually, I think when you're reading a series like that, that's so epic and so like monumental, you forget how not clunky, but how introductory the first few chapters are, and that's kind of how it starts. Like our podcast, every new book, we're like, we don't have a lot to talk about this episode because this is an introductory chapter. Cool.
You're like, background.
We'll see you next time.
We got some background.
Yeah. So each time we start a new book, it's almost like we reboot the podcast.
Well, no, but I love it because I like the take on like each chapter having a different like topic that you take on politically, or like think about it in a different way through like a gender lens or through just so many different things. And it's just really neat. And you and Aaron were on to talk about that. And then your friendship, how you started the podcast on Best Forevers, and I was very proud of myself when I came up with the name Cloaked in Friendship.
That is my favorite thing you've ever come up with to describe us. That can change, but I thought it was very clever and beautiful, and I just want more of that.
Oh, thank you. I try hard. I try real hard. So I'll have to do something real good for this episode.
No pressure.
Yeah, no pressure. Yeah, now it's going to be like, what? Episode 60, Adri.
I like the sound of that, though.
But did you ever imagine that a year ago when I was talking to you and Aaron that we would still be talking almost a year later?
I mean, yes, because I love talking, period. But... And I love meeting new people.
Yeah.
Like, that's, like, a thing. And also in your 30s, it's so hard to make friends. Like, internet friends are life.
Yes.
You know?
Yes. And that's the thing is we've never met. But when I'm, quote, unquote, I'm using air quotes or quote, not... Well, I am using air quotes. This is an audio podcast, so people can't see them. But...
Oh,
when I actually met you was on Google Hangout.
I know.
And I have never met you in person, is my point.
And we have to remedy that.
Yes, but that's okay. Like when I talked to you and Aaron, I felt like good vibes right away. I think we bonded over having some graduate student experiences like we could talk about.
Some trauma.
Yeah.
Some trauma,
Some
yes.
PTSD.
Yes.
And then just sort of staying in contact by being supportive of each other. And then I recorded with y'all in April, And Aaron brought up this.
And on an episode of a podcast that is not coming out ever.
Maybe we could do a secret Best Forever's share of that episode, because I bet it was fantastic.
It's funny because that's the episode where Aaron and I got into like a makeup fight, like a make-believe fight, because I was like traumatized that she hadn't invited me to her manifestation group. And she was like, you're on the same Facebook group as everyone else. What do you mean I didn't invite you?
And then
it was great.
And then I got invited too. So thanks for fighting with her about it, even if it was fake, because then the three of us started it. So because that was when y'all sold me on that, right? And talked about it and told me about it for the first time.
Well, she was talking to both of us about it, because I was like, I don't know what that means. What does that mean? Like,
so that day was the first time you learned about it too, and then I was witness to the fight. And I remember now.
I mean, and I didn't mean it like, and the fight was like exaggerated for audio purposes because I'm dramatic, and Aaron would say it's because I'm a Gemini, but I would say it's because, hello. And I would say it's not because I'm a Gemini, it's because I am a person who loves drama. When it's not real. When it's just like fake, And
I am a person who enjoys being a part of fake fights and drama. It's like, I'm one of those gifs where all of a sudden I'm like the guy on the couch with his popcorn, just like, oh.
Yeah, that's basically me, yes. Yes. And I love performance.
Yeah.
But I do not like real drama.
Yeah. Oh, no.
Which...
No one likes that. I mean, there are some people who do, but not in this house.
So I remember briefly seeing. So Aaron and I are in a group for a blog that we had with a community, and someone in the community had brought up manifestation up, but I had totally missed that post somehow. And then when it came up in the podcast recording with you, I was like, what do you mean manifestation? Why am I not invited? I like to be invited to things. What is happening?
Well, and I think that is a very important point that's relevant to this podcast, because this podcast is all about making friends and feeling included, or how do you handle when you're excluded? Well, then when you're excluded, Adri will have a fake fight with you on a podcast.
Yes. I'm not sure if she knew we were having a fake fight, though. You might have to ask that. You might have to ask her that. I hope she knows me well enough to know that I wasn't being serious.
Yeah, that it was kind of like more like sarcastic, like, what? Or snarky. Yeah.
Well, we usually joke, I usually joke on the podcast that every time she like dunks on Ron Weasley, I'm like, and the rift widens. How dare you? How dare you? I mean, I'm not like a Ron stan or anything, but like he deserves a little better than what you're giving him. And she's like, he doesn't deserve shit. Like, she's a Ron hater.
Well, I remember because I came on Accio Politics recently to talk about Prisoner of Azkaban, and y'all asked me about my favorite characters, and I talked about Seamus, and y'all were like, what is happening? So I got hate from both of you.
having a Harry Potter podcast, you get used to asking that question a lot, right? Of listeners, of friends, of guests. Yeah. And legit, no one had ever said Seamus.
And some people who are listening right now is like, who the hell is Seamus? They're going to have to like Google.
He lights things on fire.
He lights things. He's a Gryffindor. He's one of their friends that's kind of like a side character, and I feel like he just doesn't get his due. But there's other characters I like. I just feel like Seamus just needs a little shout out.
Well,
and so that takes us back to I need to start bringing more podcasts back into my life because they're good for me. I learn a lot from them, and check this. When I work out, I'm more likely to listen to podcasts too. And I was at the doctor's office today and they were like, exercise. And I was like, like the craziest laugh ever. And she was like, so we'll mark that as no.
You know, just tell her it's like a soft no. It's not a hard no. It's just like,
No.
I haven't decided yet.
No. But yeah, so going back to that, it's this idea that you had the fake fight, and then Aaron introduced us to manifestation. Was that the first time you had ever heard that word?
Yes, because while I'm open to a lot of things, I'm not constantly seeking out anything that's like spiritual in nature or like anything like woo-woo, to use the technical term.
That's the technical woo-woo. That might be the name of this episode.
Woo-woo.
Woo-woo. Well, yeah, and I would say that I feel like as an individual, I am someone who's like constantly thinking about like, okay, what is not going right, or what would I like to change? What would I like to do? I feel like I constantly have a list of like, I want to try this, but sometimes I fail at like the execution of things. And so it's like, I do have that mind of I could do this better, or I know that I should exercise because I'll feel better because science says so. Right?
Okay, but I think we should kind of rewind and kind of define manifestation for everyone, right? Because we're just like talking around it.
Do you want to take that?
So manifestation, as we've been doing it, is, to me personally, more of a mindset exercise of setting your intention for not just the day, but also the future, and keeping in mind what you're grateful for. So you start with a gratitude or multiple gratitudes if you're feeling super grateful, like I am most days, which is kind of funny because I'm very grumpy. And this exercise has allowed me to see my life in a new light and know like I have all these gifts that have been given to me, and I have all these people around me that I love so much. Yeah. So it brings me to a less Grinch-like place.
How festive.
How festive. And then you set your intentions for the day and say, hey, today, my intentions for today are these, like my manifestations for the day. And you say in the past tense, like it already happened. So it like shifts your mindset to be like, I'm going to do this because I've already done it. Yeah. And then for the future, you also do it in the past tense. But then you like set your intentions for like 3 months from now, or even a year, or wherever. And I find it works best for me, and I don't know about you, when I'm very concrete about it. Like I can't just say, I want to make tons of money. But if I say, this is the amount I want right now, that's the amount I'm probably going to get like 6 months, a year, or whatever, because I've set my intention. I've set a number to it. Yes. But I manifested the current job that I have without even like realizing it. And nothing's perfect. No job is perfect, obviously, but I wanted something that allowed me flexibility. I now work from home in a place where my contributions were valued, check. And, where I had great relationships with my coworkers. Sometimes I want to kill them, but you know what? Working from home, I don't have to be in the same office with them. So it's cool.
Oh, and as a professor, like I'm on break right now. So I'm like, oh, that's amazing. And I'm like, oh, wait, I'm not really around anyone anyways. The cats are helping me do work.
But, like it's something that, which is funny. It like brings back that idea of like, be careful what you wish for. Yeah. So you have to be very specific.
Well, and I think that one of the things is that, so in terms of how I've seen the manifestation, like at first it reminded me of the book The Secret, where it's like if you put it out there in the world, it comes back to you. And
it's like based on that, yeah.
So like that similar idea, or that people do like vision boards. I know that there's a girl that I went to high school with that every year her and her kids do vision boards for the year. And like they post them on Instagram and that sort of thing, and sort of things that they're looking forward to in the new year. And sort of like things they want to come true.
Like set your intention, yeah.
Yeah. So you have that intention. First it's like you have feelings about something. So it's like, I feel like I want to be more respected in the workplace, or I want to be more well-versed in this knowledge area, or I want to write every day so that I can do So you have feelings about things. There's things that you want to do. I definitely have that. I have a whole list. I could bring out lists from before. It's like, I want to learn how to do this. I want to be more like this. And so it's putting the feelings out there and then adding intention to it. And then even further, maybe like the goals and the execution and the step-by-step in which that you would do it. And the manifestation, like you said, and how Aaron talked about it with us, was that it includes being grateful. It includes thinking about what we want from the day. It thinks about what we want from the future. And I feel like a lot of times people might see this as something as very individual based, very self-focused. But why we're talking about it here is that we do it together, right?
Yeah,
so we have, what do we use? What's the app?
WhatsApp.
I was close. I said an app. And so we send each other voice memos Monday through Friday, but also we have talked about recently maybe adding in the weekend, because sometimes like when it comes back to Monday, you're like, wait, it's Monday? Sometimes I'm later on Mondays because Saturday and Sunday got you some sort of way.
Yeah, no, and I think sometimes like it's like a muscle, right? So if you don't exercise it, you forget, and then like let's say manifesting doesn't work in the way like very like new agey people think it does. Let's say it's just more of like a goal setting and you just go after your goals. But it's the same thing. Like if you don't go after your goals, you're never going to accomplish anything, right? But if you're not constantly thinking about your goals and what you want out of the day and what you're grateful for and like getting yourself in that right mindset, then it sets you back. So every Monday we start from scratch, like, oh, wait, what do I want to do today?
Yeah, and some of it is like, for me, I feel like as a professor, I often live semester by semester. And so I like how many times I said, I just need to get out of this semester and then I can do some real thinking, about some of the things that I want. And, because like I need to work on that. I am someone who's like, okay, so let's say I went to Taco Bell and that ruined, maybe I'm trying not to eat at Taco Bell as much. But here's the thing. I posted this on Twitter the other day. Taco Bell is my love language. Love Taco Bell. And, you could say, oh, I ate Taco Bell for lunch. The rest of my day is ruined. I'll start again tomorrow. But then you'd be like, well, it ruins the whole weekend, so I'll start on Monday. Or it's ruined the whole week. You know what? It's January 12th. I'll just start it the following year.
2020 is going to be my year.
2021. 2025 coming at you live in like 6 years. But I think I'm very much that kind of person where it's like, we'll start again on this day. And so, but I do think when I do have breaks, I do a lot of movement on thinking what I want to feel, thinking about what I want to do and how I might be able to do that. And I also think that when you manifest, it can be something self-focused. Like I spend a lot of time doing it myself and thinking about what I want and maybe even plotting out some things or doing some searches. Because let's be honest, I never manifested. What I would do is go to Pinterest and look up stuff like, how do you achieve your goals? Like, how do you do this thing? How do you do that thing? And so I did like a Pinterest manifestation, or I would make a New Year's resolution, which I think is somewhat related, like people, that idea, like where they're putting their intentions out there in the world. But isn't it the case that, isn't it within a certain amount of time, most people have given up on what their resolutions,
like March.
Yeah. March. Yeah. Okay. And so one of the things is that I see this more that you can do it individually, but when you do it with friends, there's more responsibility that is associated with it.
So like accountability
buddies, right?
Yeah. I think it also allowed us to get a much closer in a shorter amount of time because we were kind of being privy to each other's internal monologue in a way that is not like an everyday occurrence when you're getting to know someone.
Yeah. Yeah. And I talk about, self-disclosure, and I think manifestation voice memos on WhatsApp violates the theory of self-disclosure that we talk about in the class. Like we're going straight past the peripheral, like, where are you from? What do you like? Straight to, we share things that are going to help us achieve the things that we want to feel, do, and be, and so on and so forth. But yeah, it's like you have to be real, but you have to do it with people that you feel safe with, that you have like that space where you can talk about those things. And I think that, you know, it feels like I know you way better than a lot of people, because even at this great distance, like we've never met face to face. We met on Google Hangout, right? And we're doing that right now face to face, but through technology. And one day we'll meet face to face, and it's like we've covered so many bases further than a lot of people will ever do in a face to face friendship in some ways, because of the things that we talk about, that about how we feel about the things we want, some of the, you know, obstacles or some of the setbacks, and how we feel about those things when we're having bad days, good days, the worst
2018
days.
has been a shit year.
Yeah, let's set it on fire.
Like,
burn it down. Like Seamus would. Burn it down.
I thought 2017 was a shit year.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, 2018.
Oh my God. Yeah, 2018. The only thing, no, okay, well, let's practice it for a second here, Adri. What are you grateful for in 2018?
Okay, I'm grateful for the community of people that I've built around me. Like, that includes you, obviously.
Thank you.
And learning how to be vulnerable. Because, fun fact, I'm not good at being vulnerable. Like, I am not... I talk a lot and I ramble a lot and I'm like all over the place, and it may seem like I'm performing vulnerability, but that's not me. Like I project a lot of the things that it's not. It's who I am. Yeah. If socially, not the real me. Yeah. So that's one of the things that I'm very grateful for. Understanding how vulnerability can help me make real connections with people. I'm also grateful for understanding that I needed to go to therapy.
Yeah. Snaps
and
for
getting
you.
there. Yeah. And that's helped me a lot. And also learning how to place boundaries with my family, which still love my family, but you need boundaries.
Well, I think we all need boundaries, and that's something that I'm grateful for, is that I am also learning about boundaries as well. Like, what is good for me, what is not good for me, what is going to impact my health, and what, like, in a positive or negative way, and what can I do to say, that is beyond what I can do at this moment or for the next 4 months, or I can't do that at all, right? And so grateful for having that, you know, learning that as I go along. 2000.
You know what, though?
Yeah, what?
Sorry.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry for cutting you off, but like, I know we've talked about work a lot, you and I feel like you and I give a lot of ourselves to work.
Yeah.
And that's the hardest place where we need to find how to put boundaries around that.
Yeah. True. And that, you know, forgiven for cutting me off. Because that is an excellent point. People who invest so much of their time and energy and soul and everything into the workplace, then it makes it harder to disconnect when you need to. When you actually need that break, it's going to be harder. You're going to feel pressure, or you're going to feel guilty about it. And there should be no guilt in shutting the email down at 5:00. There should be no guilt in taking a weekend off. There should be no guilt in saying, I'm not going to work until 3 a.m., you know? And so maybe we're not there yet, but 2025, Adri, we got 6 years to make that happen.
I hope it'll happen.
Yeah.
I can't keep this up, you guys.
Well, yeah. So maybe that's something that we're going to focus on next year. I'm also grateful for the podcast community. I feel like it's something I've been a part of for a year and some change. And it feels like I've entered into a whole new world, and the connections, the support for podcasters have for each other is amazing. And I've never felt that supported before in my entire life. And so I think that feels good to be surrounded by so many amazing podcasters and that they're supportive and have your back and are helpful. But also this idea that we can find spaces where we can help each other. Because that's one of the things that really pisses me off, if I might say so myself, is when, for example, women don't support women. And I think that the community like Lady Pod Squad does that, but I also think that's where our manifestation started too, that there is you, me, and Aaron, and that we are women who want to see each other thrive in life and succeed. And I think that is really amazing, and I'm grateful for that, for sure.
You know, and that reminds me, I've been reading Big Potential from Sean Astor. Mm-hmm. Do you know?
No, I'm not familiar.
He's the like happiness researcher, and okay. I might just have bungled his last name as I usually do. His name is Sean. And it's Big Potential. He's a big deal in like the TED Talk circuit, and like
he's kind of a big deal.
He's kind of a big. I only know about him because I went to the Texas Conference for Women, and he was one of the keynotes.
Oh, cool! Yeah.
So he talked about his research in happiness, and I was like, I kind of remember your TED Talk, and I was like, wait, he has a book. So he's talking about big potential and how there's this misconception in society that you can't let others shine.
Yeah.
Because you yourself have to shine, mm-hmm. and no one else can shine. And he's talking about how instead of trying to take away someone's shine, we should amplify it because it amplifies our own shine.
Yeah.
And I was just like, you're talking my language, dude. You're talking my language.
Yeah, there's, my friend Tierney, who's been on the podcast before, talks about the idea that like sometimes people act like that the pie that we all have can't be shared. Like it's like there's a piece of pie for everyone. And you know what? We might even have 3 pies. So if you don't like apple, have some pumpkin. You don't like either one, there's some pecan for you. You know what? You like all 3, you can have a little bit of all of it. And so there's no reason.
That would be me.
What's that? Yeah. You're like, I'd like to taste test all these. Can I have a flight? It's like a flight of beer, but just pies. Someone make that happen.
Please. Like, this is the business idea I've been waiting for my entire life.
I'm talking, I want flights of mac and cheese and I want flights of pies, and someone needs to make that happen. I'm going to have to start manifesting that. But I think that's a really excellent point. Like, we can all be good at things and be happy for other people, be proud of ourselves, lift up other people, assist them when we can assist them. There's no reason why we need to bring people down. And I think that it's quite amazing to see an entire community act like that, but also that we were able to create our own little community ourselves that where I feel like everything I say to y'all is valued and respected, and that the comments back are meant to help me get through if it's a setback or help me achieve those goals. And so I think that's the point here, is that manifesting is something we can do by ourselves, but there might be an added level of an advantage or many advantages by doing it with other people, because they always say, like, when you have an accountability buddy or with a secret, it's like putting it out there so other people know that you're doing it. And so when other people know you're doing it, then they can ask you about it. Oh, how's that going? You got the podcast? Or like right now I'm up for tenure. And so it's like, oh, how's that process going? So it's one of those things, like, it helps us stay on track. And it's kind of like, I don't want to leave you hanging. Like, even if it's like 3 p.m. and I've forgotten, I'll be like, hey, hello.
I mean, I've done that too.
Manifesting at 3 p.m. works better when you do it in the morning. But that's what we do. Like, we use the audio on WhatsApp. We record sometimes anywhere between like 3 and sometimes even longer ones. We've had like 6 or 8 minutes where we just talk.
Oh, yeah.
And sometimes
guilty, yes.
Adri's dogs make an appearance. Those are my favorites. My cats sometimes make an appearance. Sometimes I'm doing it when I'm walking up and down the stairs and I get out of breath. Sometimes you can hear our blinkers because we're doing it in the car.
Yep.
Sometimes it's like, I'm on my way here. Okay, here's what I'm grateful for. And then you move into, what you want to do that day. And when you put yourself in that mood to say, today was a productive day. I was able to get done these 3 things. And I was able to relax when I got home. And overall, it was a good day. Even something as simple as that. Then you're starting out that day perhaps in a better mood and more focused. And then something I said, you might comment back or be like, you go, girl. I don't know. That doesn't seem...
I mean, that seems out of character for me, but okay.
You go, girl.
Yeah, but I'll allow it.
Some sort of, like you talked about it, like we're cheerleaders for each other, right?
Yeah, we are.
It's kind of like that, you got this, or, I'm so happy to hear this happened, or, well wishes. Like, I messaged you before I was going to a meeting, and then it was like, go kill that meeting, like, do that thing, type. And so it's like, you go in like, yeah, I can do this. And so sometimes we're the worst to ourselves. Like, we are negative talkers.
Oh, yeah.
We talk ourselves out of things. We deny things. We lie to ourselves. I do an entire section on self-deception in my lying and deception class. The things that we tell ourselves and justify. And sometimes when your friend knows and you're talking to them about the things that you would like to achieve in life, whether it's a specific goal like finding a new job or living a life that's financially healthy or whatever the case is, they're not going to let these self-deceptions and denials slide by. They're like, wait, they can help you.
I think also what has been very helpful to me, at least, is trying to reframe everything in a more positive light. Like, instead of saying what I don't want, say what I do want. Because if I say what I don't want, that's all I can think about. And also surrounding myself with positive people, because you are kind of who you hang out with. And I hate to say that, because then my mom was right, all those times.
It's accurate.
She was like, no.
There's research that says, like, how people perceive the people around you is going to be how they perceive you, right? Like, there is impact, who we associate with.
Yvette, you were right. And it pains me to say that.
Wow. She's put out there. It's recorded forever.
Well, even if I didn't say it.
She's not listening to Best Forevers.
I mean, she's your biggest fan. Come on.
Oh, thank you. Oh, I thought my dad was.
Move over, Alysa's dad.
Yeah. Sorry, Jim.
No, my mom doesn't know what a podcast is. It's hilarious.
My parents listen together. Hi, Mom and Dad.
Hey, guys.
Hey, Jim and Nancy.
Hope you don't hate me.
Well,
so my mom will say, she's really cute. She was like, so how's the podcast going? And I was like, yeah, we're trying to get like more listeners and we can get money because it's getting expensive to self-finance this venture. And she's like, well, if it helps, just say that I listen. It's enough. And I was like, yes, Mom. Yes.
You have a new PR program. You have an entire campaign.
Yvette listens.
Yeah, I mean, what other evidence or proof do you need that people should listen to Accio Politics other than that your mom listens? My mom listens.
Like that, then my overcritical, too cool for school mom listens to my podcast. Yeah.
If she's got time for Accio Politics, then you definitely have time for Accio Politics. But I do think, she was right, and I think it's a good point. It's like, you want, for manifesting with other people or working on individuals or share goals together, like, I think that having the space to do it, but then also knowing that who are you doing it with? Is it people that are aligned with you in some ways, like want to be positive, are trying to thrive in all these different areas, right? And are supportive. And so that might not always be the case. Like, so many people dedicate their New Year's resolutions to weight loss, right? But then how many people, including themselves, might sabotage that? And so it's like...
You're talking to me.
I was talking about myself, too.
Well, it's a general statement applicable to many people in this conversation.
Well, but it's true. Like, if you have someone who's like, I'm going to start working out. And then the next day they're like, hey, you want to go to Culver's? And then the person in me, the person in me that's like, yeah, I could totally do Culver's is like, yeah, let's go. And it's like, no, Alysa.
Yeah, no. Yeah, that would be me. I went to Trader Joe's the other day and I was like, do you have Half Moon cookies? Because I don't see them in the display. And they brought them from the back.
Entire box?
And they're frozen. Yeah. And then I was like, I'll just take one little packet. But also, he was like, they're frozen, just so you know. I was like, more delicious.
I'll just take 5 more of these, thank you.
I wanted to, but then I was like, self-restraint, Adriana. They're 100 calories each, and you eat the entire thing.
Sounds delicious.
I mean, not 100 calories per packet, 100 calories per cookie. And yeah, so this is like, we're talking like 1,000+ calories that I can eat in like 3 days.
Still sounds delicious.
Or one sitting, whatever comes first.
Yeah, so, but I think that you're right, you know, in terms of like finding those people, but like that positivity, like that's been really helpful. But I also find that like manifesting is helpful because it makes me more focused.
Yes.
And that I don't allow, as much as I did before, like bad days or setbacks to like completely destroy any plan that I have, that I'm still trying to jump right back into it.
So do you also feel, and this is just me, like personally, I also feel I have less bad days because I don't let things get to me in the same way. Because I'm already like, nah, you're not going to fuck with me today.
Let them know. No, I feel like even though 2018 was a shit year, as we've already, you know, labeled or declared, right? That, but, and we can make that each day worse, but it's like, if you start out with the things that you're grateful, because sometimes it's like, it doesn't feel like anything is going right. And there's always something to be grateful for. And I know that when I would talk to my friend Tierney about stress, she would also talk about like, well, having like a grateful, like a journey. Well, it is a journey of being grateful, but a journal that you can write down like, these are the things that were good that happened today, or this is what I'm grateful for. Like that is a good place to be because we're thinking about all the positive things instead of focusing on 1 or 2 things that can bring us down. And so I think manifesting has been really helpful to me to be more focused, to feel more supported by you, and then to be more positive. And so I think there is a lot of benefits into manifesting with other people. And I think that people can do whatever they want. Like, you know, at the beginning when we're trying to define manifestation, that we kind of have our own idea. And if it works for us, I would say that then that works for you. Like for some people, New Year's resolutions works for them.
Yeah, no, that's completely true.
Some people do bucket lists. My friend Ashley does a bucket list, right? I have a friend Sue who each year for her birthday decides something that she wants to do for the year. So when she turned 50, she wanted to try 50 new drinks. And then 51, she tried 51 of this. And then this year is 52. It's 52 ways to donate.
Oh,
like whether it be time or money or whatever the case is.
That's such a good one.
Yeah. And so she does it with her birthday. And although it might be one thing, it could be something that helps us stay on track for like donating is like giving back or being concerned about issues that are going on and wanting to support people through whatever that might be. And so that might be something that she wants to manifest, but making a list of how she's going to donate or saying that she's going to do the donations and keeping track of it and letting people know that she's doing it because she always posts it on her birthday what she's doing, then there's more accountability. And I think that's really neat. So I'm trying to think of something for 2019. Like, I turned 40 this year, and then I have Fatalities, my new true crime podcast, where it's, like, talking about true crime over tea. I was thinking I could try 52 different teas, right? But that takes me away from pop or soda, depending on what you call it in Texas. Coke?
Soda.
I don't know. Soda. Okay, yeah.
I mean, I'm not from Texas, so I don't know.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You grew up in Puerto Rico, sorry.
True Texans, correct me. I'm sorry.
Well, in New York, people called it soda. Michigan, it's definitely pop. In the South, it's Coke, right? But if one of the things is I want to be healthier and I'm drinking a lot of pop, soda, or Coke, then saying something like, I'm going to try a new tea every week, I'm increasing my intake of something that is, well, first off, there's water in it.
Wow. Low bar.
Hydration. Yeah. So I think that's a really neat way to do it. And I know my friend Allison, we were talking about this, and that she's going to, she turned, I think, 31 this year, that she's going to visit 31 coffee shops. And so that is something that means a lot to her, is she loves coffee. So I think sometimes it's, we manifest together. That's something we can do together. It's helped build a friendship between the two of us. It helps us live more positively. It helps us be more focused as we work on that sort of thing. But I think also the point is here, there's things that you can do, and you can do it with other people. So maybe I go to some of those coffee shops with Allison and we try a new tea, right? And so you can work on your friendship while doing these things. And that just reminded me, I went to a presentation where her name is Marcy Weston, and she worked at Central Michigan University for many, many years, and she worked in the athletics department. She is a very inspirational and motivational person, and she was speaking, and I went, and she was a college athlete, and her coach brought her into the locker room, or into their office, and was like, what are you doing outside of basketball? And she's like, what are you talking about? And they're like, well, do you go do anything else? No, I just do schoolwork. I go to practice and I go to bed. And she called it LFTs. You need to have look forward tos. You need to have things each week you look forward to. And those can be connected to your manifestation, things that you want to feel, things that you want to do. And so I think there's lots of different ways to do it. Manifestations, resolutions.
You know what? I need to stop looking forward to food.
Well, but here's the thing. Off mic, we were talking about Taco Bell, and I was talking about how I found a copycat recipe for that spicy ranch sauce that's on their chicken burrito. And so you can look forward to a healthier version of Taco Bell.
Sure.
And as my dad would say, everything in moderation, including moderation. You don't have to completely cut off Taco Bell.
Well, I think it's just like my looking forward to is always like, I'm going to have cookies today. And I don't think that's very healthy.
So maybe that's like, okay, Adri, we need to like brainstorm some ideas about like what other things do you enjoy doing, and how can we get those look forward tos in there? Is it like creating a new Spotify playlist that gets you in the mood for something? Is it Taco Tuesday with that secret ranch sauce, right? The copycat ranch sauce. Is it going to see a movie? Is it watching the premiere of a TV show? Maybe it's taking even a bath. Like there's things that we can do. And we even talked about that, like getting on Google Hangout and brainstorming together about the things that we want to do and how we can do it. And so that's another way
to take over the world.
Yes. And I was also going to say, build friendship.
You can see my priority here is world domination, like any good villain.
And mine's like world domination with friends. Friendship, world domination. But that also made me think of, I don't know if there's a particular name for it, but where people go into the new year where they have a word that like reflects what they want for the year, right? So a couple years ago, I did this with my friend who, her name is Heather, and my word was balance, that I really wanted to have more of like a work-life balance. So that word sort of trickled through everything, like, okay, balance with those cookies and the Taco Bell, Adri. Balance with working and doing social things. Balance with like, it's like not being at any end of the extreme, like me, only eating fast food, right? Or only eating salads, there's an in-between.
That would never happen for me.
Or it wouldn't last long.
I think we found the word for my 2019.
Is yours balance? Okay.
Or boundaries?
Yeah, that could be. I think there's a webpage. I'll find it. There's like a webpage and it lists different words you can choose from. And you can pick words. You can see what other words people have picked. Balance is one that I have thought of. I like boundaries too, because I think that's something that's important. And recently I had Paul Gilmartin from Mental Illness Happy Hour on my podcast. And we were talking about like mental health, communication, and friendship. And one of the things that he talked about is that there's a difference between good and bad selfish, right? Bad selfish is where there's no consideration for other people or anything else. And good selfish is I care about other people, but I also care about myself. Mm-hmm. And these are the things I need to do. So although it's not one word, I do like that phrase, like good selfish. Like, so I don't beat myself up. Like good selfish right now is it's Friday night. And instead of trying to do something else today after a full week, good selfish would be eating something that tastes good and then watching the next episode of whatever I might be binging, and that might be good selfish, or declining to do something socially because you need a night off. There isn't anything wrong with that. So it's like good selfish.
Is good selfish like going to Sephora and buying a holiday kit for you? Asking for a friend.
And by friend, she means me. No, just kidding. Her. Yeah, sometimes it is. Like sometimes like I'll just go to Target and be like, I'm going to get myself something special today. Usually it's like a mug because I love mugs so much, or...
Hey there, big spender.
Yeah, I know. Watch out. That $7.99 at Target.
They add up, though. They add up.
Yeah, Sephora versus a Target mug.
Listen, I can't go to Target without spending $100. So...
Gosh. Yeah, is there a word about how to, like, control yourself in Target? Maybe that should be our word in 2019.
It's called not go to Target.
That's more of like a sentence or a mantra. Like, here's the thing. There's so many things that you can do and you can do with other people. Like, yeah, mantras help people. I use mantras or hashtags in my classes to let students know what the whole class is about. And it sets sort of a tone. So maybe we need to come up with a mantra. Maybe it's no Target 219. Wait, they'll probably be like, cease on that. What do they call it? What are the legal terms?
Cease and desist. I don't know. I'm not a legal scholar.
Me either.
I pretend like I could be one.
I've been watching The Good Wife, and I don't know if I can even think of law words right now.
I love The Good Wife. It's an excellent show.
So then, I mean, I think that all those things are helpful, right? And I think they've helped us like individually and as friends. I would think that although when I met you online, that I liked you, I didn't know that I would know you in this way or find that you would be a trustworthy confidant that I know is 1000% there for me, and that I can say anything. And there have been times where my voice memos is me crying.
I mean, same.
Yeah.
You know this.
And so, like, that is not something that you like to do in front of other people typically, but
also, you could say manifestation made things escalate rather quickly.
But there is something about, you know, we also text or, like, send messages, and we can send emails, and all that kind of stuff. But there is something also that I think intensifies a friendship when you can hear people.
Correct.
You can hear your tone and appreciate the sarcasm and the laughs and the serious and the cries and all those sort of things. That it is, without seeing each other's face, it is a full-on, like, all-in sort of experience, right? And so I feel grateful. And I was going to say lucky, but no, let's go with grateful.
Gratitudes, yes.
So you got your word for 2019. And we're thinking about not going to Target, but I don't think that's realistic.
Come on, yeah. Like...
So So what are you looking forward to in 2019? Like, the ball drops, it's finally here. We got a year behind us. What are you looking at? What are you thinking about?
Well, I'm thinking about balance, obviously, and boundaries.
Yes. Now you're like, okay, I have to think about that.
B&B. The new B&B is the balance and boundaries.
Yes, I like it. And then hashtag B&B. People are going to be like, so many people with bed and breakfast will start following you on Twitter.
Yeah, they're going to be super confused by me. Because my Twitter presence is all over the place. But it's mostly dogs, so be warned. Obviously, I want to continue on a path of self-discovery through therapy that allows me to achieve better balance and boundaries. And I'm looking forward to growing in my new job because I'm still kind of fairly new. Yeah. So, you know how it goes. Like, you're just thrust into something and you're like, cool, I have to pick this up now. Great. Okay. Try not to panic. I'm also looking forward to growing the podcast, obviously. And like Goblet of Fire is like one of the most action-packed books. So things are getting interesting politically too. There.
Oh, I bet.
As the books keep going, the more political they get, I feel, and like existing as a political act already for most of us. Yeah. But JK is like, does not shy away from getting super political in the later books, whereas before she was not conservative, but, you know, she was trying to keep it safe, I think.
I think she really did well in making the books appropriate for each age.
Yes.
Like, as you age with Harry Potter, right? And so I think as Harry Potter gets more politically involved, if you will, or more things around him happening, then you see more of it. And I think that's one of the neatest things about the entire series. It's one of the things I just love.
Yeah. So, and like my puppies, my 3 Chihuahua mixes who are rescue puppies, I hope they're healthy in 2019.
Yay. 2019 for me is, I feel like there's a lot of good things that are moving. I enjoy podcasting with Best Forevers, and then my new true crime fatalities. And
which, by the way, I want to get
we need to talk about what case.
This is my plea. Yeah. This is my pitch. Is this my audition? Because I think I'm nailing it.
Is this your fake fight?
I bring the drama. I bring such good content. I want to be on fatalities.
Yeah, here's the thing. You're on the list. I just haven't been able to email, which goes into what I want to see in 2019 is growing a lot of the things that I'm doing, like podcasting, and I want to connect those with action-oriented things. Like I have the Join Alysa on a Bench campaign, which is helping to raise money for buddy benches, and so that's an actionable thing. The most recent fatalities is about Eddie Joe Lloyd, who was wrongly convicted of murder and rape, and it was the Innocence Project that helped him get exonerated. And so I want to then do like a campaign to help like with listeners for the Innocence Project, right? So, and I want to be more actionable in that sense. But I think my word, although I do like boundary, I think my word for 2019 is going to be discipline, because I am that person as a professor is like, I'll do that next semester, right? And it's, or it's like, you know, Saturday morning, well, I've already ruined the weekend. I might as well go to Taco Bell, right? Like, I just, like, I have so many ideas for things, and it's not saying that there aren't things that I execute, because I do execute a lot, and I think that's the thing, is that I need to find a way to be organized and disciplined. So you're B and B, I'm going to be O and D. Or should I be D and O so it looks like do?
Yeah, I like that. B and do.
Organized and disciplined. Because I'm going to have some new exciting challenges in 2019. And so with the podcast and with work and life and my look forward to's, whether they're for cookies or not, I need to have a better system. And so these will be the things that you and I will be talking about a lot.
Oh, and you reminded me in Actionable that part of the things that I'm looking for in the podcast is that we launched Patreon.
Yeah.
And part of the tiers is we're making a sticker a month for some of our things.
I love stickers. Oh, she just gave me a look like, why aren't you on the list yet then? I get paid in January. Wait.
So we're doing monthly stickers for some patrons, and then we're also doing recipe cards and stickers for like the next level.
Oh, cool.
So all these things are kind of just like cool. Now I have more stuff to do, but also it's exciting because it's a tangible thing that you can send to people.
Well, and I also appreciate that is also an outlet for creativity.
Yes.
Which I don't think a lot of times we allow ourselves to do with work and all the other million things that are going on. And obviously, we're both creatives because we create podcasts, but I also want an outlet. And so one of the things I'm thinking about for Fatality's Patreon is working with my friend Bia, who's an amazing, she introduced me to sewing. She taught me how to sew. And she is going to create little tea wallets where you can put tea bags in a wallet and put it in your purse or your bag or backpack or whatever and take it on the road. And I'm like, that's so cool. And then I commissioned her to perhaps make a pattern, and then I can get back into sewing and do it myself. But she said she would make some for me so we can start it out. But that's the thing is you're right. It's connected to what we're already doing. It's actionable, but it also gives us an outlet for creativity, which I think we all need to have. And so even if it's coloring while you're watching TV or whatever the case is, there has to be something else. But I like that for us, we both are action oriented, or at least we want to be.
We're working towards that.
That I think that is something that's motivating for both of us.
Yeah, no, I'm really excited.
I'm looking forward to 2019. Here's the thing. I have an Erin Condren calendar that I've had for 6 or 8 weeks or something, and it doesn't start to January 1, and I'm like, TikTok, I want to use my new calendar so I can start all my organization and discipline and all the things I need to do. I mean, I can start doing it now, but I can only plan ahead. I can't be in it for each day. So
well, you can use sticky notes.
That's true. Yes, I've done it before. I have sticky notes on the wall. I have a cork board with note cards with the topics for the podcast and the order in which I'll do them. So I've done lots of things. I use calendars. I've put the desk calendars. I put them up on the wall in the kitchen. But I also live by myself, so people don't have to deal with my sticky notes and calendars. Just the cats. And
I think I'm gonna plot out my novel in sticky notes.
Yeah. And you could do different color if it's characters or plot points. And there's so many different things. And that's the thing is I guess this is, why I wanted to do this topic is one, it's something that you and I have done. And certainly we cannot go without saying how that we're not here without Erin, because she introduced that to us, whether it involved a fake fight or a nice invite,
I mean, I'm still a little miffed, but just kidding.
She introduced us to it, and I love how she's such an eloquent person and just holding space for other people and thinking of them, and well wishes for people, and that has been such a wonderful experience. But I also think that through this process that it is figuring out what works for you, and whether that is something that is individual based or friend based. But I think that as a friendship podcast, I see a lot of benefits with people planning these things together. Think about that, New Year's Eve, get some wine. I mean, if you're not old enough, then get some fake wine.
Welch's grape juice.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. The fake wine that makes you feel fancy. Get a fancy drink cup, And you and your friends make vision boards together or pick out your words. And my friend Sarah, this is so cool. For her birthday, we're making signs with our words on it for the year.
Oh, that's nice.
And so then so we have the creative outlet and we're doing it together over drink and food. This is a way to bring friends together. But you can also have time to do it by yourself and think about the end of each day, being grateful and doing these things. And so I think that's the point is I think this can be something it's been helpful to me. I think you would say it's been helpful to you.
Yeah,
and that
completely.
there is something about it, doing it together, that has helped as well. And so this being the last episode of 2018, I think this is a great way to start 2019, to have people think about. And also, I always do, like, maybe think about, I'll put it out there, maybe think about some things in 2019 related to friendships, right? And I have, to start off the new year, I have a January calendar with something different to do each day about friendship or with friends or that sort of thing that people can follow. So maybe people start thinking about some of that.
That's so great. Yeah.
So lots of cool stuff.
You know, communities are important. Friendship is important. And I can't count the times where, you know, some friendships fade and that's normal. But like, I wouldn't be where I am today if it weren't for people who support me and who are around me. And this year, like I said, is the first real year where I have allowed myself to be truly vulnerable to others. Yeah. And I have been floored at the response and the help that I've received. And I was like, I could have been doing this all along, you guys. It didn't have to be that hard. Yeah. Mind blown.
And that's the thing, is like, maybe it's thinking about, you get what you give, and like, if you give positivity, you're gonna get positivity. I mean, there's always one person who's like, you're too happy or you're too positive, and they're gonna try to bring you down. But it's like, but again, it's aligning with people and knowing that, being vulnerable, and knowing, for example, like you said, that's not something that you usually do, like how important of a responsibility, or how important it is to me that you would be vulnerable with me, right, through voice memos and that sort of thing, and taking great care with that, because you're my friend and you're being vulnerable, and what can I do in this moment because I care about you, right? Like that, I think is really important and really powerful. And I think that brings us to something that I've been slacking on a little bit, but I did this really cool program at Central Michigan called Leadership. It's a national program, but I did it through the university I work for. And I went to Albion College in Michigan for a week, and I worked with students who are going through sort of like this leadership program. That's what Leadership is. And it's really about, it's called Living Your Day 7, which is actionable again. So it's like you go through 6 days of leadership, you learn how to be a leader, what are the things that you're passionate about, how can you change the world? And I actually use Leadership to develop my podcast. And then day 7 is you doing it. And every other day for the rest of your life is that day 7.
Oh my
day
gosh.
7 is always doing. Isn't that amazing?
That's amazing.
Yeah, Leadership is great. But I met so many wonderful people. And so one of our leaders, they are so amazing. Their name is Raja. And what Raja brought to the meetings that we had were these Power Thought cards by Louise Hay. And I'll post a link to this, but it's a deck of 64 cards, and you can pull out a Power Thought card. So what I would do is pull out these cards on Monday, so it would sort of be sort of a message for a week while we were manifesting. And so what I'm going to do is one for you. There it is right there.
For 2019?
Yep. No, we're not. Sorry. You're like at home. Everyone's like, what? Okay. So, yes, I have one for you and one for me. Okay.
All
so
right.
This one's for Adri. And these cards are really cool. On the front, it has a statement, and on the back, it explains a little bit more. It says, I now create a wonderful new job. Hey, she's in a new job. I am totally open and receptive to a wonderful new position, using my creative talents and abilities, working for and with people I love in a wonderful location, and earning good money.
I mean, that's literally all I want in life. Oh my gosh. Maybe, what if the podcast takes off and that is my job?
What? Let's do this thing. All right.
Guys, patreon.com/Accio Politics. We need that money.
All right. Mine says, everything I touch is a success. Oh my gosh. On the back, it says, I now establish a new awareness of success. I know I can be as successful as I make up my mind to be. I move into the winning circle. Golden opportunities are everywhere for me. Prosperity of every kind is drawn to me. 2019 is going to rock.
It's going to be amazing. Also, I want a deck of these cards.
I know. I'm gonna get you. This is what I'll get you to start out your 2019. So I got your address. So I pulled another one, and this is for my listeners. So all the purple shirt friends out there. All right, this is a good one. It says, I am worth loving. I do not have to earn love. I am lovable because I exist. Others reflect the love I have for myself. And you know what? This is an amazing card to pull because my saying is everyone deserves to be happy, healthy, and safe. And all of my listeners and friends and community and everyone is lovable. You are worth loving. And I love it. 2019, we're going to rock it. Burn everything else to the ground.
I'm hoping for, I'm hoping 2019. Yeah. So is the year we wake up from this nightmare.
Exactly. And you have that new position. I have success, and everyone is lovable. So it's working out great. So Adri,
I mean, also the podcast can take off.
Yeah, well, that's what I was just gonna say. Adri, tell people where they can find you to listen to, where they can find you on social media, and tell us your Patreon again, which will all also be in show notes.
Okay, so you can find us on all social channels at Accio Politics because we're branded very well.
Yes, you are.
And you can email us at info@AccioPolitics. Our Patreon account is patreon.com/AccioPolitics. And yeah, we hope you enjoy our podcast and start on the later seasons. The first few seasons, a little bit clunky, but it's okay.
I am going to give a shout out to especially season 1. I liked it. And so don't listen to Adri. Except listen to her, but do it on the podcast. But I think, like, there's ways to catch up, or, like me, Goblet of Fire is one of my favorites, so it's like I want to jump in right with you. And then I am, like, counting the moments to order a Phoenix because I love angsty Harry Potter, and I can't wait to see angsty, emo Harry Potter plus politics. Let's do this thing. Well, yeah, no, so you got to check it out. If you like Accio Politics, which I think you will, then you can subscribe, rate, and review. Check them out on social media. Give them a follow. And then I'm really liking the idea of this, like, sticker club business and all these other things. So I'm going to have to go check out your Patreon myself once I get paid.
Well, and the good news is, Alysa, I don't know if you knew this, but our patrons don't get charged until the first of the month.
Oh, good point. So if you want to get in there and start on, like, January 1, you can do that now.
Yeah, our first rewards go out January 1st. So if you want to be, like, an early adopter, you can do that now.
Oh, I'm sure there are many purple shirt friends who want to be early adopters for sure. But Adri, per usual, I always love time with you, whether it be in a 2-minute voice memo or, you know, a 9-hour podcast. No, just kidding. Because we talked before. Oh my God. It's a very special 5-part episode of Woot Woot with Adri.
It's a technical term. It's woo-woo. Like, you know, like when things are just like, it's not science, but it works.
So it's woo-woo.
It's like horoscopes or something. I don't know.
Well, thank you so much for coming to Best Forevers again to talking about us manifesting, and then the people can stay tuned. I mean, besides going to listen to Accio Politics, they can stay tuned because you'll be on Fatalities. So they'll hear you on the flip side.
Looking forward to this.
Thanks for listening to Best Forevers. If you like what you hear, be sure to subscribe, rate, review, and of course, share with a friend. Please be sure to follow Best Forevers on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Best Forevers Pod, and I'm at Dr. Alysa Lucas on Twitter. You can always find the podcast webpage for more information at bestforeverspod.com, and share your stories of friendship by emailing me at bestforeverspod@gmail.com. And if you'd like to support the movement to love on our friends more, check out the podcast on patreon.com/bestforeverspod. Now, friends, check out this recommended podcast that you must get in your ear holes immediately.
It all starts with Frankenstein. Mary Shelley wrote Frankenstein, which uses the Promethean myth, which her husband Percy Bysshe
Shelley wrote about, and they were both friends with Lord Byron, who kept a bear at Cambridge and was the key shaper of the Romantic movement, which Oscar Wilde would be at the tail end of when he wrote Dorian Gray, who was influenced by a Yellow Book, which inspired the publication of a magazine called the Yellow Book, which specialised in lustful and violent tales, in which John Buchan was published, according to Benjamin, who wrote about Wilde's arrest. And Buchan wrote The 39 Steps, which later became a Hitchcock film, before he made Psycho, which was based on Ed Gein, who made corpses
into ornaments, unlike Victor Frankenstein, who made a man by grave digging and stitching corpses together.
You done?
Not even slightly.
The Frankenpod. It's a podcast stitched together from the corpses of mystery, noir, gothic literature and cinema. Subscribe to us on your podcast app.